Hello, Nursing 4040 class. This is my video describing the vaccination issue. So I'm going to be two people right now just because it's me here. So one person's the anti-vaxxer and one person's the explainer. I'll be me, the nurse. Okay, so let me get this started. I think this side, yeah, okay. So I just had a kid, and I was wondering, they're wanting me to get this MMR vaccine, and I'm not really sure what that is, and I feel a little skeptical. Like, it's a little baby. I'm not sure that my baby needs it. So, my question is, aren't newborns pretty well protected against measles and mumps and rubella and all that stuff from their mother's antibodies? That's a good question. It's a question that a lot of people have. So, the placenta, it does send a lot of things to the baby, like oxygen, nutrition, growth factors, and those are all things that we classify as passive immunity, or maternal immunity. And so they have these things that have large molecules. They're an immunoglobulin called IgG. So the mom makes these because of previous exposures to diseases and vaccines they got themselves. So good maternal immunity causes good protection for the newborns. So that's why, for one thing, it's important for mothers to get things like flu vaccines and for girls to get their vaccines. So later when they're pregnant or when they have little babies of their own, they can pass on that immunity that they develop. But the problem is these titers or these levels, they drop off pretty rapidly and the protection falls. So the protection you get from your mom can last from weeks, sometimes months, and the protection generally like fades away after that. So by 6 months of age, they don't have much protection. So that's why they recommend that you get that MMR for your baby at a year. I don't know about that. I feel like if it wasn't dangerous, if the MMR wasn't dangerous, why couldn't I give it to my baby before that? Why do they have to be a year old? I mean, does it really? I feel like if they can't have it when they're little, what does it matter if they get it when they're a year old? So doesn't it show that that's a little bit dangerous? So the reason why they recommend that they get it at a year is because of the breast milk and because of that passive immunity you get from your mom that's deteriorating. When you're The reason why you can't get it earlier, I guess that's your question, is that there's still some IgGs circulating. So they're not very protective, and they won't really protect your baby from squat. Especially live viruses like the MMR or chickenpox. That's why these vaccines are given at 12 months, because there is some IgGs and they interfere with those vaccines that you get up until that point. So if you give it before, it's not dangerous. They just probably won't work as well. So that's why we want to give it at a year so they can provide strong, lasting protection over their entire lifetime. So just to recap that, just those maternal IgGs can limit the effectiveness of those vaccines. Also can limit those things like hepatitis or DTaP, polio, or any other vaccines given in the first year. So my question is, doesn't breastfeeding give babies antibodies? I know that they have that thing like colostrum, and I know that they get the mothers. Wouldn't that just prevent measles? I mean, or can breastfeeding interfere with the MMR vaccine? Should I not have a wife breastfeed? I definitely wouldn't say you shouldn't have your wife breastfeed. It does have, like I said, it does contain antibodies, but they're different kind of antibodies. They're not IgG antibodies that circulate in the blood. They're IgA antibodies that concentrate more in body secretions. That includes like nasal mucus and breast milk. These IgA molecules, they don't interfere with vaccines. They provide protection against. The problem is they provide mostly protection against like GI or gastrointestinal infections, things like diarrhea or vomiting illness. And this makes sense because it comes from breast milk, which is swallowed and goes through the gastrointestinal tract. They don't make their way into the blood, or not very much like other proteins. If you swallow them, they're mostly torn apart during digestion, so these IgA provides just a little bit of protection against measles. So, like for instance, a breastfed baby, on average, will get about 1/2 of ear infections in the first year of their life. So breastfeeding does not have a huge impact on those kind of infections. Those are measles, mumps, and rubella. Wow, you're really knowledgeable. Thank you. I am pretty knowledgeable. It's almost like you're reading an article right now. All right, thank you guys. That has been my video discussion on the measles, mumps, and rubella virus. Obviously, we're going through a hard time. Stay strong, everyone, especially those people working out in healthcare, and vaccinate your kids. Thank you.